Hello everyone, and thank you for listening to this week's reflection. My previous talk in March focused on giving, and I made you aware of the Ukrainian sunflower appeal. This is an appeal where you can donate money to improve the lives of children and young people in Ukraine through purchasing an origami sunflower which has been made by Scottish prisoners. The donations will be used to fill art bags with crayons, pens, paintbrushes and paper, which will then be distributed to the children, and they can then, through the medium of art, work towards processing their feelings and emotions which have been affected by the current ongoing war. I am now in possession of a box of the sunflowers, and they will be placed in the Eastern Old Church so that you can easily have the opportunity to give what you can to this life-changing appeal. However, this is only just the start of what is now growing into a fabulous collaboration between our country and Ukraine. I was privileged to get an invite to an exhibition of some of the artwork which has been brought back from Ukraine by local artist Marianne Orr. Marianne spoke passionately of her recent trip to Ukraine to deliver the first of the art materials to the children. And she related heartwarming stories of the happiness and joy expressed by the children when given the opportunity to create with paint and pencils. The children's pictures were delightful, and ironically, even though they lived day to day surrounded by war and destruction, they painted on numerous occasions hearts, red hearts, pink hearts, even yellow and blue hearts. Now, this is obviously the Ukrainian flag colours. These hearts also demonstrated to me the hope of a young child's mind, or the ability to still see love even when so much around them is hateful. I spoke with Marianne, and the next step now is to give young children in this country the opportunity to also give. Through giving to others, we also receive, and what a better gift can we give than the ability to teach our young people to also want to give. By instilling awareness and compassion to others who are our neighbours, whether in our own towns and communities or worldwide, we create a human race which is sustainable. We must care for everyone, regardless of race, culture, religion, gender, and what better way to ensure the growth of this thinking than to nurture the quality of giving in young people. So what do the children need to do? Marianne has come up with the idea that young children in schools can produce a piece of artwork to go in the bags which are going to Ukraine in June. This is exciting as it is a pilot project which will happen here in Forfar between our church and our primary schools. There is no downside to any of this, and there is no limit to how many art bags will be delivered, and in turn there is no limit to how many children's lives can be touched by this. So actively look out for the sunflowers to make your donation, whether you are in church on a Sunday or at one of our cafes, or there's an upcoming coffee morning. On another note, but also linked to Ukraine and caring for everyone and making our world a better place, I must mention the Eurovision Song Contest, which was held in Liverpool at the weekend. This year's slogan was United by Music, and millions of people from around the world certainly were. If you didn't watch it, or you weren't aware of how this year's contest was different, then I'll give you a little bit of background history. The 2022 contest was won by Ukraine, and that in itself is amazing in my mind because Ukraine was at war during that time, and who would have thought entering a song contest was a priority or even a good thing to do? but it is because it unites us and gave Ukraine the platform to remind us that they were still carrying on. Their entry was the Kalush Orchestra, and they performed an original song called Stephanie. This was an ode to mothers, describing the love and strength of mothers. It's also original in the sense that it's a mix of music styles, traditional folklore and rap. And that is the uniqueness of Eurovision, the different styles, languages, genres and themes. Anyhow, Ukraine won, which meant they would have to host the next year's contest. But as we all know now, that was not possible due to the war. So the United Kingdom, who'd come runner-up with the song Spaceman by Sam Ryder, became the chosen hosting country for 2023. Liverpool became the host city, and for the past week, they welcomed fans from all over the globe to enjoy the run-up events and the final on Saturday night. And they certainly united all people with music at the event. Liverpool hosted a fabulous show of music, lights and images of the contestants' countries, depicting what we all have in common, whether it was a river, a tower, an art building, an open space, all the countries had them, and the images were designed to remind us how much we all have in common in our day-to-day surroundings. However, back to the songs, they also depicted common messages, regardless of what language they were sung in. In actual fact, you don't need to fully understand the words because the performances were so good, you just knew the message they were trying to get across. Love, fun, loss, a whole range of human emotions. Some people have been put off watching Eurovision over the past few years because they have perceived the voting as being political. This does not seem to be the case now, if it ever even was. The voting is done purely on what appeals to the majority of us, regardless of, as I mentioned earlier, religion, race, culture, gender. The slogan, United by Music, is so true. A popular hymn sung in our church is called When I Needed a Neighbour. The words repeat over and over, and the creed and the colour and the name don't matter. It's about being there regardless, and the UK and the rest of the world was there for Ukraine, united originally by that song Stephanie, an ode to mothers worldwide. Sweden won this year, and this was actually my favourite song. It is called Tattoo. The words speak about a love and friendship being so strong and lasting that it is like the permanency of a tattoo. It takes a lot to remove it. I like the tune, the performance, and the meaning of the words. I had at least another 8 songs which uplifted me in different ways, and I've now added them all to my Eurovision playlist, along with favourites from 2022. Just think now how we can all be united in music with people from countries all over the world listening to the same words and melodies, uplifting us to make the world a better, loving place. And if that's not one of the messages of the Gospels, then I don't know what is.